Hello everyone. We have reached the final chapter of Genesis today. We'll be discussing the Genesis chapter 50, where it concludes the narrative of Joseph and his family in Egypt, as well as the larger story of the patriarchs. This chapter also contains the events following the death of Jacob and the final words and actions of Joseph and his brothers. After Jacob dies at the age of 147, Joseph mourns for his father and requests permission from Pharaoh to bury Jacob in the land of Canaan, as Jacob has instructed earlier. Pharaoh grants this request, and Joseph, along with his brothers and a large procession of Egyptians and family members, takes Jacob's body to the cave of Machpelah, where Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, and Rebekah and Leah are buried. This act fulfills Jacob's final wish and reinforces the connection of the Israelites to the promised land. We can also see that after the death of Jacob, Joseph's brothers become fearful of what Joseph might do to them because of their past mistreatment. They approach Joseph and express their concerns. However, Joseph reassures them, emphasizing that he does not intend to harm them and that God had used their actions to bring about a greater purpose, saving many lives during the famine in Egypt. The chapter, however, briefly mentions that Joseph lived for many more years in Egypt, seeing his great-grandchildren. Before his death, he reminds his brothers of God's promise to bring the Israelites out of Egypt and instructs them to take his bones with them when they eventually leave Egypt. Joseph's faith in God's covenant and his desire to be buried in the promised land demonstrate his commitment to his heritage and God's plan. The book of Genesis, as we have seen in the last 50 days, concludes with a note that Joseph was embalmed and placed in a coffin in Egypt, awaiting the day when the Israelites would leave Egypt and fulfill the promise given to Abraham. Genesis chapter 50 serves as a conclusion to the overarching narrative of Genesis, showcasing themes of forgiveness, reconciliation, and the fulfillment of God's promises. Joseph's forgiveness of his brothers is a central theme, demonstrating how God can work through human frailty and even acts of betrayal to bring about his divine plan. Additionally, the chapter underscores the importance of family and the enduring faith of the patriarchs in God's covenant, which sets the stage for the subsequent books of the Bible and the history of the Israelite nation. Thank you for listening. May God bless you all in abundance.